Good morning. We're learning a mimer in Likuti Torah, the Alter Rebbe. This mimer is speaking about the power of tshuva. How is it possible to transform intentional transgressions to merits and to awaken, to arouse above, to create such a level that Hashem is not listening to the accusers, the different types of accusers. Rather, he transformed the curse into a blessing. Also, we're going to speak about the 4 letters of the name of God, our service, how it corresponds to the 4 letters of the name of God. And we're going to discuss what does it mean, the lower Havaya, and what is the supernal Havaya. These two, in general, this is going to be the discussions in this mimer. So the mimer would focus on a pasuk in this week Parshas Seitzei, and chapter 23, verse 6. Pasuk goes, Velo Ava. Hashem did not wish to listen to Bilam. So this is really going back to the story in Parshas Balak. Bilam wanted to curse the Jews, and Hashem did not wish to listen to him, and he ultimately transformed his curses into a blessing. And he wanted to curse, but he ended up giving a blessing. But in this week Parsha, it's mentioned after the Torah tells us that Ammonites, Moabites should not be part of the Jewish people. Even the 10th generation, they should not come. And then the Torah says, why? Because they didn't come to... Rashi tells us that they wanted to figure out a way how to make you sin. They were consulting and thinking and planting and plotting how to cause the Jewish people to sin. And ultimately they hired Bilam, which he himself gave ideas of how the Jewish people should sin. And in this week Parsha, the end of it tells us, the pasuk concludes, Hashem did not wish to listen to Bilam, and he turned the curse into a blessing because Hashem loves you. So Alter Rebbe starts off with a question. Le'ovin ma'u apela agod v'otzum asher lo yava Hashem lishma b'kol ish Bilam kevilam ish Belial kevilam Hashem. It says, what is the big chiddush that Hashem did not want to listen to such a impure, such a crooked guy? I tell you, I saw a person that is a crooked person, someone that is a evil person, and he gave me advice and I didn't listen to him. So obviously you didn't listen to him. So the Alter Rebbe said, what is the big chiddush? Hashem did not listen to Bilam. Of course he wouldn't listen to Bilam. Bilam is not a tzaddik. Bilam is a wicked man. Why should I listen to him to begin with? Right? So that's question number 1. וגם, מהו היהפך סקלו לברוחו מאחר שלא שמע בלם כלל? It says that Hashem turned the curse into a blessing. How is it possible? It just as before, Hashem didn't even listen to him. If you didn't listen to him, you didn't hear what he wanted to say. If you didn't hear what he wanted to say, then there's nothing to transform. There's nothing to work with. It's like somebody comes to you and he wants to tell you something. You say, I don't want to hear it. You didn't hear it. So there's nothing to take his words and then to turn them from a curse into a blessing, because you never listened to begin with. What does the pasuk say? Velo Ava. Hashem did not want to listen to him. If Hashem did not want to listen to him, we didn't listen to him. So what are you turning around? There's nothing to be turning around for. You understand the questions? Because it sounds like Bilam did curse, and Hashem took his curse and turned it into a blessing. But previously it says Velo Ava, Hashem did not want to even listen to him, meaning that he didn't curse. He didn't have a chance to say anything.
But everything he said was a bracha.
What we know at the end, he did say bracha. But we're just now.
Okay, we can say
analyzing the pasuk.
right.
The pasuk tells me that Hashem transformed the curse into a blessing. The pasuk also tells me previously, before that, the pasuk says, "I did not want to listen to him." If you didn't listen to him, what are you transforming for? What are you turning around? There's nothing to turn around. You didn't listen. But Bilam is klippa. Bilam is impurity. Bilam is an opposer to holiness, to anything that Jewish people represent. So the question number one was Hashem. Why would Hashem even listen to him? What is the big novelty that Hashem didn't listen to him? And number two, what did you turn around? If you didn't listen to him, since you didn't hear what he wanted to say, I didn't listen to him. What does it mean? What did you turn around? There are accusers that are trying to accuse the Jewish people. Okay? There's accusers. That's why we take a shofar in Rosh Hashanah. Why do we take a shofar in Rosh Hashanah? It says to mix up the accuser. What is the accuser doing? Accuser is looking for the sins. He's looking for wherever. He's trying to find the imperfections all the time. There's some people who like to see the beauty. Some people like to see the ugliness. So he looks for the ugliness. That's what. And then once he finds it, he sticks it out. He looks for it. And he is very scrupulous. To go and to accuse them. You have Melamed Zchus, someone who tried to say on your behalf your merits, and someone who tries to say on your behalf your discredit. So Zeu Nikar B'chinas Bilam, and this is called the level of Bilam. It's not Bilam himself, it's what Bilam represented. Bilam represented someone that looks into the Jewish people's tzitzis. They say checking your tzitzis.
Yeah.
Checking your imperfections, looking at your shortcomings. That's what he was looking for. Hashem made it in such a way that whatever he saw positive. He could not see the negative. But the epitome of Bilam is someone that Mechapes is looking for, is searching for your shortcomings. That was the way of Bilam. So looking for oven, looking for sins, looking for transgressions, and looking to accuse. The Mittel Rebbe said that he was looking for hidden evil. He wasn't just looking for evil. He didn't see evil. He was looking for hidden evil, any embedded negativity. So all those accusers above are on the level of Bilam, because that's what they do in actuality. That's what they're looking for sins, and then they stick them out. They say, "Here, this is what the guy did." So if you think about what they do is finding it and then blowing it out, and like reporters, what reporters do, they nitpick, obviously not for good things. They're not the president created this kind of boost to the economy. He did this. He did no. His wife said this. His son-in-law said this. Taking it and blowing it out of proportion and bringing it, making it. This is a conversation of the day. They decide what the conversation of the day will be, and nitpick for the bad and blowing it out. And if it's not bad, they'll make it bad. Right?
Yeah.
So reporters, Bilam, same. Roish Hape'er Anishkof Opnei Shimen. So the Parshas Balak speaks about the different places where Bilam and Balak they went together to try to find bad in the Jewish people. Payosh Samidbar Ponav, and then he turns to the Midbar, he looks at the desert. What does it say? That Bilam takes, or Balak takes Bilam to different places. Ultimately, they make it to the desert, and the interpretation to this is places where the Jewish people are future to sin, not even sinned, but they are about to sin in the future, and he can see it. Who took Bilam to the Peor? Balak. Rashi tells us that Balak was a magician himself. Right. Balak also was a magician, and he saw that the Jewish people are going to be punished. Going to Peor was not the main issue. Was the Avodah Zarah. The shiksas led to the Avodah Zarah.
Right. But you had to have the shiksas to get them to that point.
So what sin they did in the desert? What sins they're about to do in the desert? The eagle.
Right.
He looked, because that's how Unkelus translate the pasuk, that because Vayoshes Amidbar Ponov, so Unkelus write that they turned into and they saw the egg. He saw the eagle. He already saw the golden calf that they.
But this happened after the eagle.
Right. That's why Rashi tells you before that he was a magician. They're, what did I say before? They're not just looking at what Vital Rebbe said. They're not just looking at the evil, but they're looking at the evil hatomun that is hidden, that is about to come out.
So they know that even though the eagle happened and they did tshuva, that they still had it in them to.
Yeah, if it didn't happen yet, then they would they say that it's about to happen. If it happened, then they mention it again. Like I said, they find it and they blow it out.
Right. It's like some women, they'll keep throwing your.
So he says, even though the Jewish people are on a higher level, spiritually they're on a higher level, but nevertheless, Bilam looked for the evil that is in agonus, the hidden in them, and their sins, in order for him to curse them. Zeu hashevach. Now we can see what's the praise and the novelty. The novelty that we say Hashem did not want to listen to Bilam. What's the novelty in it? Zeu hashevach sheshivach hakosu ki af al pi sheba betainu. Although he had a complaint, Bilam. Af al pi chein velo yavav elikecho l'shma. Hashem did not want to hear. What does that mean? Hashem did not wish to listen to Bilam. It's not that you need to respond to what he says. You need to give him an answer that makes sense. Something logical. It's not that you have to respond that way. It's just that you're not accepting it, you're not hearing it without logic. Because the expression of, if you listen to the pasuk, it doesn't say Loi Shoma, Hashem did not hear. It says Velo Ava. Hashem did not want, Hashem did not wish to listen to Bilam. Meaning that Bilam came up with different arguments, different accusations. Might even be with conviction. He's the Baldovo. He's the one who speaks for the Goyim. But Lo Shoma, meaning that they were not accepted. His arguments were not accepted. If the pasuk would say that Bilam said what he said and Hashem did not hear, then you're dealing with them with logic. If you say Hashem did not wish to hear, Velo Ava Hashem did not wish to hear, that means that the response was not with Tam V'das, not logical response. If the pasuk would say Velo Shoma, that Hashem did not hear, meaning he said it and it was not accepted. The pasuk wants to tell us that this is not what happened. Hashem to begin with did not want to hear anything he had to say. That's a chiddush. Because otherwise, why not? You say why not? Hear what he has to say and then decide if you want to take it or not. If you want to accept it or not. She says, why did the pasuk took the long route to tell us Hashem did not wish to listen to Bilam? Because what does the pasuk says? Because Hashem is Elokecha, Hashem is your God. That's why He's not interested in listening. Every Jew has a level of a revelation of Shem Havaya in him. Which it says in Parshas Azinu, Ki Chelek Havaya Am Yaakov Chevel Nachalosi. Chelek Havaya Am, part of Hashem is His nation, and Yaakov is the robe of his inheritance. Shem Chelek V'O Mishem Havaya. The Jewish people are part of Hashem. Is a saying that Odom Korvus Haratzma, a person loves himself. Every person loves himself. It says Al Kol Pshaim Techase Ava, which means that for all the sins that people do, how come they don't change? They know themselves. They know what they did. They know it's bad. So change it. Why don't they do it? So the pasuk says, "Kol pshoim," for all the sins, techase ava, the love will cover it up. The love that you love yourself will cover it up. Tells you, don't worry. There's people that are worse than you. People that did worse things. People that are lower level. So you don't have to worry about it. You're good. So that argument comes from the love that you have, the innate love that you have for yourself. So what does it mean? Why am I saying it? Because same thing over here. Why does Hashem not even wish to hear what he had to say? Because Hashem is Elokecha, Hashem is your God, Hashem loves you. What does the pasuk says at the end? Hashem loves you. So when's the moment you have love, you're covering up everything. Someone that loves someone, he doesn't see his imperfections. Well, a lot of times people get married, and then all the imperfections are coming up. Where were you the whole 5 years that you were dating? What happened now?
You know, it's people that live together, all of a sudden they get married and everything turns to, you know what?
Turns sour. So what happened?
So they didn't love each other really. It wasn't about love. That
maybe before they were married, they thought because true love is that you are looking the other way. I mean, you don't look at the imperfections. The imperfections looks beautiful to you.
Right. Well, if something that's cute today doesn't look so cute tomorrow.
You're right.
I mean,
but if somebody you have a son, and he's not perfect in certain things he's good, certain things he's not perfect. That means you're not gonna love him. You love him,
right.
regardless of whatever the package is. You love him. You love that package because it's your package. Kol pshoim techas ava. Love covers it
I
up.
saw a story about this family. The kid was a schizophrenic, and they had, and he had a stepfather, and he didn't trust his stepfather, and then he saw the stepfather went to bat for him, and he realized his stepfather was on his side, and it changed his whole thing.
Yeah.
But the mother was always loving him, and she knew he was what he was. I didn't know what was going to come up to talk about it today, but it was negated to this.
Yeah. It's like when love is so intense, for the onlooker, someone from the outside, seeing imperfection could be that the guy who loves the girl, and we use the case of a guy, the guy who loves his newly wife or whatever it is. For him, those imperfections are beautiful things. He sees it as a mile, as a greatness. Someone from the outside can say, "Oh, this is bad."
I had this wedding. I stood for somebody who was a ger to be his father, and we were his parents. And the girl, very heavy and like screaming. I said, what's going on here? They're very happy. What do I know?
There you go.
At least 4 kids, and they're doing good.
There you go.
But if it was me, I wouldn't look at her for 2 seconds.
Yeah. They say love is in the eyes of the beholder.
House, even when I visited them for a few days once. All right, it works for him. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Everybody has different ways that it works to things out.
ואור עניין זהו, כי הנה בכל נפש מישראל יש בחינס אהבה טבעית המיוסדת ומוטבעת בטבע נפש הליקי של נפרד בייחוד ואחדות יסבוך. Every single Jew has an intrinsic love, natural love, aval tivis. That's in your nature. It's not something logical. Just like you love yourself without specific, you don't need a special reason for that rotzen, for that will. You love your life. You don't want to die. You do everything to keep yourself alive. So similarly, with the innate will of the godly soul that wants to cleave to God, that's his. That's the default. That's the. If you get to the core, that's what the godly soul wants. Does not want to be separated from Hashem. For the godly soul to be separated from Hashem, it's death. And it's not something logical. This love is implanted or is embedded within every single Jew. It's not nothing to do with the level of your understanding, the level of your knowledge of Torah and mitzvahs. It has nothing to do with it. Every godly soul has the same desire, whether it's the godly soul in me or in you or in Joe in the street. And a person would never sin unless, as the Gemara in Seitzei says, in Daf Gimel Mudalef, the Gemara says a person would not sin unless a spirit of folly went into him, right? Foolishness, stupidity that went into him. Amate Yisrael says the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, the stupidity of the what is the stupid argument, so to speak. What is the foolish argument? So Alter Rebbe writes that I guess the evil inclination or the stupidity tells you that even if you do that, you're still connected to Hashem, meaning it's not going to undermine your connection with God. To a certain level, it's true,
Right.
but there's still it's still
You're not going to go to dinner with him after that.
exactly. It's still severing the connection. It's like somebody told me the other day, I'm embarrassed to go to the oil. I can't look at the Rebbe's face, meaning I don't feel comfortable there. Not because of the Rebbe, because of him. He knows that he's not in a good place spiritually. So he said, I can't go there. I'm too
I can understand that. Somebody I know, the husband was always cheating on him. He would never go to see the Rebbe. You know, she would go for dollars every week, no matter what. He would never go in.
So what's the point over here? The spirit of foolishness says you're not separating yourself from God if you're sinning. If you do idolatry, you do adultery, you do
if you do dafka.
No,
I'm having chaznaka. Like you said this before. Somebody could just go to Burger King and have whatever, and I don't know, they like it, but they're not. That's it. But then if I say I don't like it, but I'm eating it to upset Hashem, that's a different story.
No, that's the difference between. It's called choitel te'oven, choitel achis. Choitel te'oven is someone who sins because it's enjoyable for him. He really likes it. It's too much. He can't handle the temptation.
Right.
But choitel achis is someone who does it to anger Hashem.
Right.
He has no benefit. He doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't like doing it. But he does it just to anger Hashem.
Right.
But it's very uncommon to find this type of behavior today.
Right.
The choitel achis wants to make Hashem. But over here it says that regardless of any sin that you do, whether it's in the realm of angering God or whether in the realm of appetite for pleasure, it's because of ruach shtus. What's the source of the sin is the ruach. What is the spirit of foolishness? What does it tell you? It tells you oidenu biadusa, that you're not separating yourself from Hashem. Tanya tells you 613 ropes, and every avera severs one. It's undermines the connection. I don't care how you cut it. It undermines the connection. It says to be separated from Hashem's unity, even even the lowest of the lowest, someone that is on the lowest level would not be willing to separate himself from God. That's why the lowest of the lowest would be willing to give up his life. And we saw it in reality that people who didn't know much about Yiddishkeit, when push come to shove, they went and if they had a gun to their head, or they had many stories, right, throughout the generations of people who gave up their life, Kiddush Hashem.
Somebody in the Holocaust, they were.
Look at obviously the story of Hannah and her 7 children. They were great tzaddikim, but they said that even the baby that did not per se understood different levels in Torah, but he was Meiser Nefesh, willing to give up his life, not to bow down to this evil king. Why is it? Why somebody is willing to be Meiser Nefesh if he doesn't understand what is it all about? So it says, because of the nature of his nefesh. Ner Ava Nishma Sodom, the candle of Hashem is the Yor Neshama. Kener Adelik Shashalev Yisrael Meleo, like a burning candle that the flame goes up on its own. B'li tam v'das. It's not something that is logical. So the pasuk is comparing the neshama to a candle. The same way that the candle is ascending on high, that's the nature of fire. It says that the fire wants to be connected in Yesod Eish. It wants to tap into the element of fire. That's why fire is always ascending on high. Fire is always trying to reach higher. So, versus similarly, the godly soul wants in its nature to ascend and to be one with Hashem's unity. So meaning that it's not something that is happened, it's activated or it takes place because of your understanding, your contemplation. Rather, it's a natural thing that is above intellect. It's covered up in a sackcloth garment, physical body. Meaning the godly soul is covered up, is captured in a physical body. And the spirit of folly, the foolishness, comes from the sackcloth. That's why the Zohar calls it the serpent skin.
But Hashem wants us to be in this.
Of course, but I'm saying where. I know, but we're trying to identify where the spirit of stupidity coming from. So it's not coming from the godly soul. It comes from the levush sak, the sackcloth garment, the physical body. That's where the ruach shtus is coming. And what does it make you feel? That to really you're not separating yourself from Hashem every time you sin. That's what the spirit of folly is convincing you. Aval, when you arouse the love, if you're arousing the love to Hashem to such level that the love wants to go out of its, when you're willing to go out of your limitations, out of your garments, the body, that leads a person to a true fear of sin, not to transgress even a rabbinical enactment, even something that seemingly is not a big deal. You don't want to do anything because you're afraid. What are you afraid? You're not afraid of punishment. You're afraid to be severed from Hashem. You're afraid of separation from God. Up till now, you sin because you convince yourself that it's not nothing is going to happen. You're not separating yourself from God. Once you really understand, arouse the love to Hashem, you understand it, that you're going to undermine the connection, then you are afraid of sinning. Because the word of the scribes, the Gemara in Sanhedrin 88, and we're going to see it in Yeruvin 21. We'll get there in a couple of days. It says where 21b. It says over there that the words of the scribes are more grave, are more serious in a way than the words of the Torah. Chamurim, they have to be more strict about it than Divrei Torah. Shiloch and Ikus Sefer, why they are called scribes? It says in Sefer Yetzirah this concept of Sefer. Sefer is the scribe, is the book, and then the story. Sefer, the scribe, the one who writes the book. Sefer is the book itself, and Sipur is the story. Okay, it sounds like the same words, but it's the scribe, the book, and the story is in the book. Okay, Sefer. What is Sefer? Sefer is the written Torah. Soifer, the scribe, who always says the Sefer, the one who writes the book, the one who makes the book. And that the one who makes the book is referring to Torah Shebal Peh, the oral Torah, because the written Torah was given to us.
Right.
Oh, Moshe brought it down. But it's not that we wrote it. It was given to us. But Sefer is the oral Torah, is what we wrote. U'ha'oisas HaSefer is what the rabbis wrote. The woman of valor is the crown of her husband. What's the connection? So the words of the rabbis are called divrei sofrim, chamurim divrei sofrim. Words of the rabbis are called the words of the scribes. To say that their maila, that their greatness is even superior to the words of the written Torah. Like the advantage of the scribe over the book. Who is greater, the book or the one who wrote the book?
The one who wrote the book.
Exactly. So it says, the sefer is higher than the sefer. The scribe is higher than the book. The Chachomim is a famous discussion in the Gemara about people who kiss the Torah, but they're not giving respect to the rabbis. So kissing the Torah.
You see it. Unfortunately, we see it.
But the one who carries, who embodies the Torah,
Well, that's why I have this whole thing about getting up when
Talmid Chacham. So Eishes Chayla tells about. So since the woman is the Isha is the Makabel, right? She's receiving from the Mashpia, from the giver. Isha represents the recipient. Ish, a woman represents the recipient. Ish, man represents the giver. Similarly, Torah Sheba'al Peh is the recipient from the written Torah. The oral Torah is receiving from the written Torah. And that's why it says that Ish Eishes Chayil, the woman is a Makabel. It's called Atorah. Ater's baila, right? Eishes Chayil Ater's baila. Atorah is the crown of her husband, the mashpia, the crown of the giver, becomes the crown of the giver. So similarly, the oral Torah is in a way positioned in a place where is higher. The oral Torah is positioned in a place where it's higher than the written Torah. Why? Because it becomes the crown of her husband. So the written Torah is one thing, but the oral Torah shows the beauty of the written Torah. So therefore, the oral Torah is being placed, Ateres Bailo, it's the crown of the giver. Bailo is the giver, the man is the written Torah. Isha, oral Torah, is now becoming the crown for the man, for the written Torah. This Ava is associated with the Yud of Shem Havai. The Yud in the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Ki HaKoyz Shal HaYud Pein Lamal. The thorn that is on top of the Yud faces upward. V'Reimez Shu Nimshach L'mayla, and so Bochu comes to tell us, it implicit that it's drawn upward to the infinite, to the Ein Sof. Bochu, blessed be to the infinite, blessed be Shula Milo Megedor Asago V'Leiz Machshavet Fisabe. That is above comprehension, and no thought can grasp Hashem. And everything is insignificant because I, Hashem, have not changed. So there's all statements that are written in the book of Posach Eliyahu, in the book of Daniel, in the book of Malachi. Similarly, this avo, this love, is not logical because of the, we say it's above knowledge, and then we say why. But even the answer, the explanation is not per se logical. It tells you that it's avo bli tam, it's love that doesn't have a reason. And then it says the reason is ashwas imitzad is due to the indwelling, so to speak, ashwas, ashchina, ashwas, and so bochu mamish ruled b'chokhmah. There's Ein Sof that is invested in chokhmah. The infinite light is enclosed in chokhmah. It gives life to the soul that is above comprehension. So therefore, he says it's like a flame that goes up by its own. Meaning, the godly soul doesn't have to be convinced to love Hashem. It has it in its DNA to love Hashem. That's part of its makeup, to love Hashem and not to, God forbid, be disconnected from Hashem. So why don't we feel it? He said because of the body. So all we have to do is to arouse, to awaken it up, to wake up to remove some of those separations and to allow it to thrive, to allow it to express itself. So a person has to awaken. So our job is to give birth, so to speak, to this love through contemplation. It's already there. It's mutba. It's intrinsic in you. We saw through your work, you're doing your effort. You are investing your effort. It's also the Layla, you have an awakening from above. What's the awakening from above? What the pasuk that we said, Velo Ava. Hashem's response is so much also is a loving response that Hashem is not even wishing to listen to Bilam. To say, listen to his arguments, and if you don't like it, don't do it. But says no, not even interested to listen to Bilam because he knows that he doesn't say anything in favor of Am Yisrael, in favor of the Jewish people. Therefore, I'm not interested in listening to him. So we stop here and we'll learn some Gemara.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
We'll end up having to come back anyway.